Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, welcome back to another high level best of 7, and this is a very special one. When I saw that this replay pack got released, I just kind of thought to myself, you know, I gotta watch this. Astrea, in my opinion, is one of the wildest players in the West, okay? In America, he's a wild cookie, okay? He's opening up with a pylon in his main base right now, rather than at a ramp or on the low ground or anything of the sort. At the same time, we see Prince opening up with a low ground expansion. I think Prince is the craziest Protoss player that we have in Korea currently. He's the Haas of Korea, I would say. He's the cheesiest man that I know. He does some wild things. And he's opening up with what seems to be a one-gate expand, actually. And Astrea so far, just opening up with a quick double gas here. Really not doing anything too fancy, except for the fact, of course, that this pylon is in an extremely odd position that I have not quite noticed before. He's scouting for a cannon rush as well, which is weird in a way. He gets his second pylon at the ramp. I am really confused as to what this build is, or what exactly he wants to do. This doesn't look to me like it's going to be a second gateway. Just feels like a fast core here. And as a result, might be some type of proxy Stargate, I guess? I'm not so sure, actually, what this could be. Okay, Astrea doesn't even end up scouting the fact that it's one gate expand. Perhaps he did his research and knows that his opponent likes to do that. So he proxies a pylon over here, which is the third pylon, keep that in mind. Goes for a scout, sees the cybernetics core, and will see the Nexus timing. And I think at this point what you do is you just run away, no? Do you really need to stay at home? Or do you need to really stay in your opponent's base? Yeah, you just run out. That's exactly what he's doing here. We see a Stalker starting immediately as well for Astrea. No Warp Gate starting yet. And the Stargate will get spotted immediately here by Prince. So Prince will be well aware of what's kicking off. Astrea sees the Forge and the full wall go down. And no unit being produced. So Stargate on the side of Prince as well. Astrea just continuing to build Stalkers, Warp Gate starting, and adds a Forge. I thought it was a second gate. I was like, that's way too small. I am not entirely sure. I mean, he's obviously going to be building cannons. But I am not so sure whether that is completely viable. I've never seen this before. So I'm just not entirely sure how this will play out. I guess you build this cannon in out of reach, I guess, slightly of this, and you just use the cannon as a way to back up and to clear the walls quickly. I like that his Stalker is straight up attacking this cannon. I think this is a bad battery overcharge, by the way. I really do believe this is not a good battery overcharge. I think he should have saved it and just used regular energy for a bit, because it will be able to, heal this cannon a bit. Cannon already took some real damage as well. So it's not only shields here. Triple cannons on the way. So this wall is going to fall extremely quickly. And this is an investment of, what is it? Ooh. 450 minerals. And that's also the same investment of the wall here. But it also provides backup for the Void Rays, of course. Cannons are doing a lot of damage on Prince's Void Ray already. This is a very weird game. There's not enough batteries, though, for Astrea to continue attacking into this Void Rays. There's not enough batteries here for Prince to attack into this cannon, though, which means that this Void Ray needs to pull back. Super Battery is about to be off cooldown again, which is going to be very helpful. Now that this battery in the back is done and the second Void Ray arrives for Astrea, I think he might have a bit of a timing here where he can start dealing some damage. Battery's gonna get taken out, or at least, no, it will get taken out actually. Just single Stalker here. Did Warp Gate end up getting cancelled? No, it didn't. So in theory, single Stalker Warp-ins are possible. This cannon reaches this pylon as well. And it actually, this little cannon wall, it provides such a good backup to these Void Rays. I mean, these Void Rays move back for a tiny bit and boom, just like that, there's 3 cannons waiting for you. It does feel like a bit of a stalemate though. There's way more batteries for Astrea. There's 1 cannon being built in the back. I like these 2 cannons. In order for Astrea to fight into this position, he will need to fight into cannons. I'd almost say just try to target down the pylon perhaps. Maybe that's a bit too deep, huh? I think that might actually just be a bit too deep. Really curious to see what the plan here is for Astrea. Astrea obviously wants to overcharge. Oh, it's 4 against 3. Both players using their prismatic alignment, and with the super battery, Prince actually is going to try to break this position.
think he might be able to break the cannons at least. Prismatic alignment still alive. Super battery as well being activated. Battery energy once again is really low right now. And now I like this position a lot more for Astrea. One prismatic alignment is here for Astrea as well. First Void Ray goes down on both sides. Second Void Ray goes down on the side of Prince. Oh, third Void Ray goes down and... Well, actually, even trade so far in the Void Ray count. Look at that. Where are we? Here we go. No, actually 3-2. So Prince lost 3. Astrea only lost 2. Astrea actually has a third one now as well. Wants to maybe perhaps poke into the main base. I actually believe the key is to keep attacking into that natural. That would probably be better. I think this is extremely risky and needlessly risky as well. Probably still advantageous though for Astrea. Being so careful. Both players very careful. No battery in the main base, of course. 3 Stalkers on the low ground though. And that is really an asset that we shouldn't be forgetting about. I mean, these 3 extra Stalkers, they do deal a lot of damage. They have a good amount of damage output. So yes, I do believe it is important that Astrea fights with these Stalkers in unison with the Void Rays. Instead the Void Rays once again go into the main base. But this type of fight, Void Ray versus Void Ray, it can be really tight. There's more HP on Astrea's Void Rays currently. At the same time, he's losing a bit of his front here right now. Pylons almost getting targeted down. I think Prince just needs to go, honestly. I think Prince is forced to attack into this. He's losing way too many workers right at this moment. There's a lot of money that's being lost here for Prince. Yeah, I think Prince is too afraid. He just needs to go. Bang! No waiting. I think now he wants to go 5 against 5. Alright. Overcharge, overcharge. Oh, target fire is good. It's better out of Prince, actually. I mean, this should have been a losing fight for Prince, and I think it's going to end up being a winning fight for Prince. Just ever so slightly, but a winning fight nonetheless. I think he should have done this a long time ago. Now he doesn't have money anymore to keep producing. At the same time, we have Zealot Stalkers moving in. Next Void Ray is going into the main base. And I think Astrea is aware of the fact that there's nothing in the main either, which means that one Void Ray against one Void Ray, I mean the Void Ray with 70 more HP is just going to win that one. So... yeah, Prince is just in a world of trouble. And I think Prince is extremely dead even, I would say. Very weird opener though. I'm not so sure about the cannons that Astrea initially used. I think perhaps 1 cannon would have been good, but 3, thinking back of it, was a really big investment and really cut into that battery count as well. In the end, it seems to have gone okay though. And Astrea is now going to push in with the battery support and, I mean, with the Stalkers here. Double prismatic alignment. No super battery available. This is going to be an extremely clean sweep. GG gets called as Astrea wins game number 1 in this best of 5. Game number 2 is going to be played on Glittering Ashes. And once again, we have Astrea opening up with this weird pylon. I really wonder what this pylon is for. I don't quite understand it. He must just know something about his opponent that I don't. He must know that Prince always plays this and he somehow... believes that this is just makes his early game a lot better or something. I'm not quite sure what this is. I really don't understand. That doesn't mean it's bad though. I don't understand a lot of things. If everything that I wouldn't understand would be bad, then we'd be living in a very different world. I can guarantee you that. Second gas going to be taken here for Prince, who's opening up with a 1 gate expand into second gas. Following it up, I guess, with another gate. This has to be a double gate opener just on the low ground. Okay, it's going to full wall this. That's kind of interesting. I always like that that opener, the double gate into Cybercore full wall. Late scout out of Astrea as well. Actually, no scout out of Astrea. He wants to go up onto the high grounds. Immediately going to get spotted by Prince. Both players had the exact same place for their proxy in mind. Astrea is just blindly proxying Stargates. This is the weirdest thing. I don't think this is going to get spotted, right? Yeah, it barely doesn't. And now Prince is still going to go to that spot. Yeah, he's a ballsy Protoss player, huh? So Cybercore for a non-complete wall. This is a third pylon proxy as well. I have absolutely no clue what this is. Okay, Stargate at home. Astrea playing basically a 1-gate Zealot Stalker. What does Prince even want to proxy? I have no clue what this game is. It just makes... Okay, so he just proxied a pylon. Then realized he didn't actually want to proxy something. Astrea also proxied a pylon. And also realized he didn't want to proxy anything. This is the most confusing game to watch just in general. It makes absolutely zero sense. 24 workers only for Prince. Neither player really building a lot of workers, I have to admit. Nexus still hasn't started yet either. We now have a robotics facility. 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the game, this robotics facility started. Chrono boost on the warp gate. I don't even mind this too much. If the game is very confusing, often a 3-gate robo can at least make it clear what the path for you is going to be, okay? You know that you're going to move out across the map with a prism. It is good against Stargate openers. It is fine against proxies, against most proxies. It just sucks against a quick nexus out of your opponent, but that's definitely not what's happening here. No, instead we're seeing an Oracle being built out of Astrea. Astrea's going to get in with the Zealot. Sees the robotics facility. This is a huge deal. Gets so much info with this. I'd almost want him to hide this Oracle. And the reason I'd want him to hide this Oracle is to make his opponent believe that there is no Oracle. And then once the opponent moves out with the 2 Stalkers, you go in with the Oracle, throw down a couple of Stasis Wards. But going in immediately here, knowing your opponent is playing a 3-gate robo, I think is the incorrect call 100% of the time. So I'm confused to see that. Like, unless there's no... I mean, there's always going to be units there before the prism is out, right? There's also just going to be a battery there 99% of the time. You know what? I actually think this is the correct play. I actually believe this is the theoretically correct play. If you're playing Stargate against a 3-gate robo, I think this is a very, very cool play. Because it forces your opponent to attack into you without them knowing that they have to attack into you. So most likely Prince is going to contain his opponent right now, believing that his opponent is going to be on 1 base forever. I'd be surprised if Prince goes up this ramp after taking out the pylon and the cybercore. Now we do have the stasis ward coming down, like I said. That's obviously the correct call. Double adept as well, attacking the gateway. Probably should be shading into the main base here, buddy. Hello? Woohoo! Very nice. Ooh, Void Ray's going a bit ballsy. Astrea very confident in his Void Ray movement. Oh my god. I wish I had that type of confidence in my own movement, but I don't. Double Adept now going in as well. These are really cool moves. Another Stasis Trap could be used here, and it's going to get used as well. Oh my god, I love this control out of Astrea here. 6 workers going down. Another probe gets caught in the Stasis. Gets lost in the sauce. Another Void Ray on the way. I wouldn't mind a robotics facility at this point. 1 Void Ray gets taken out. Prince actually just keeps going. Probably fueled by the fact that he just lost 6 workers and doesn't really want to... Like, ooh, he's actually going to jump in all the way. Very interesting call. Okay. Gets a somewhat okay trade, I guess. Decent-ish. Decent enough, at least, I think. This base is now mining and will start providing a lot of money. I think more batteries are just the answer here, no? I'm very confused as to why we're not seeing any more batteries being added. This is a life or death situation right now. And it seems like Astrea is almost picking death voluntarily. Which honestly makes extremely little sense. Another Void Ray is on the way. I mean, there's plenty of money for extra batteries right now. There's 300 in the bank. And that is after a warp in and after a new Void Ray has started. Did a Void Ray just die? I think it might have. Quite see it. That would be the second one. Oh, the third already. Probably did just die. Look how low all these batteries are. I really believe Astrea just needs to throw down 3-4 more batteries here. Oi, 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 oi. Goes for 1 extra battery. No gas for a sentry either. Now no more tech for a sentry. Which means that these stalkers can just poke up and poke down. Good control with the prism on these stalkers. Battery energy is now completely empty. Super battery is available. However, it seems like Prince wants to go up. No, he wants to go down again. Zealot's tanking a crap ton of damage here. I wouldn't even mind another tech structure being added. A robotics facility. Well, first the cybercore, of course, needs to be built. Oh, these Zealots being sacrificed. Their life for ire into the Stalker count here. Prince smells an opportunity, sees an opportunity, goes up the ramp and starts dealing a bit of damage to the eco. Of course, that doesn't really matter. Astrea is fine losing workers. He still has that secondary base on the right side. If he starts losing Void Rays, though, that might be bad. Stalker count is still very large. Second Void Ray barely doesn't get taken out. Decent enough control out of Prince. Is going to end up losing one more. No. It's going to keep these Stalkers alive. 13 Stalkers left over against 3 Void Rays. 4th Void Ray about to finish up as well. But the gateway unit count is also becoming larger and larger for Astrea. I'd love for Astrea to take out this Observer as well, making the micro a bit harder for Prince here. Okay, I think this is the final engagement, or at least it should be the final engagement. Stalker's not getting picked up well. I think Astrea might have just helped. With the help of this base over here in the bottom right side, the 3rd gas, making Astrea feel very confident in his position for Void Rays charging up. GG gets called as Astrea takes game number 2 as well. The score currently is 2-0. Game number 3 between these two giants of StarCraft 2. We have Prince, the top right, spawning the red Protoss. Astrea is the orange Protoss. Once again, I really don't understand what this pylon does. I'm going to have to ask Astrea. I just don't understand it. I think this is player specific though. The one thing I could maybe see is... No, actually, I can't see anything here. That's some big hatred towards these critters there, my friend. Very cool. Very cool indeed. It's gonna move down. Maybe this is better against cannon rushes in some world. He's really afraid of Princess Cannon Rush. This is a good map for cannon rushing though. Pylon, pylon, pylon. Cannon over here. Can wall that in with 3 pylons as well. It's really good map for Cannon Rush. It's a crazy good map for Cannon Rush, actually. Double gateway. Lots of mining here going down on Prince's side. 16 on minerals. Optimal saturation for that. On the other hand, we have Astrea. A little less mining on the minerals. Actually, sticking with 14 on minerals. Heavy gas build order once again. Zealot into Stalker. He lost this. He's loving this opener. He's loving this opener so much. Cybercore goes down on that second pylon as well. Uses the Zealot often to scout. And he plays a funky style of StarCraft 2. Let me tell you that much. Astrea plays a funky style of StarCraft 2, okay? Very interesting stuff though. Just love watching this type of play. It's completely different from anything else we see. I mean, this kind of has the framework of a 1-gate expand, but he's not playing this like a 1-gate expand at all. Like, this is not similar to a 1-gate expand. In the way this... He should block this, no? Oh, he wants... What did he just build? He just spent a bunch of money. Okay, it's another pylon, I guess. He queued that up. It's really funny because Prince has to be somewhat confused as well here, just like I am. He's like, oh, wait a second, what's happening here? Stalker as a follow-up, okay. And then Twilight Council pre-Nexus. I'm just not sure if this is good or if this is bad. You see, Astrea has a crap ton of workers. Or well, crap ton, he's 25, has a decent amount of money, has faster tech. Is there any inherent, like, something unsafe in this build? Is there a point... I mean, the Zealot standing across the map when you have a hallucination makes no sense to me. That makes absolutely 0 sense to me. I can get behind most of the decisions, but that one I just don't understand. And I'll blame him for that as well. I do not like that. Dark Shrine gets built. Okay. Now we're talking. I think the follow-up here was double sentry though, right? Yeah, it was double sentry. Twilight Council is being thrown down as well. Hallucination being sent out. Maybe freaking Astrea can't even hold his low ground right now. If this was 4 Stalker, the game would actually just end. This builder seems so darn risky. Pylon is going to end up dying. It's good trades here for Prince all around, honestly. Takes out a Zealot for free, takes out a Pylon for free. Now it gets really important though. He needs to scout. He absolutely needs to scout. He needs to figure out what's going on the other side of the map. If this hallucination dies, Prince dies. If this hallucination stays alive, Astrea might be in a bit of trouble. Oh, there comes the first shot. Second shot. 2 more volleys on that. Recall? No, you're not going to recall that, right? There's just no shot. Okay. Second gate is done. Worker count will look healthy, at least for Astrea, so that's useful. Robo Bay gets thrown down by Prince the moment he spots the Dark Shrine. Robo is a bit away though, huh? It's a long way out. Ooh. Triple force fields all miss. Oh no. What is that? Warps in a new sentry. These force fields are really important as well. Once DTs come out, you need them to force field your opponent out. Win some time. His Robo isn't done yet. This actually could have disastrous consequences here for Prince. Sees the DT now come in. Yeah. What do you have? Single force field remaining? Oh, he has 2. Oh, that's something. 3 actually. Okay, well. Should have had like 6. Should have had 6 force fields. He had 3 now. That would have been a difference. He could have actually just force fielded the front. Or like this. Pop, pop, pop. Dish, dish. Pylon still getting blasted. You have 1 more force with your body. You can use it to save the pylon if you want to. You can also use it later to try and trap. 2 more pylons are on the way. Observer is now out. And... Ooh. Cute recall. That's worth it. 125, 125 save. Good move there out of Prince. Trying to get the detection there ASAP by using the observer mode a little further out. Very cool. Does not quite work out. Blink was being built. Dark Stride. The Dark Templar Blink, of course. Immortal, 2 extra gateways as well. 3rd Nexus is on position. You have a pylon in the natural. 4 Stalkers, 4 Sentries. It's very doable. Very, very doable. Yeah, an interesting game this one is. I think Prince is behind, but he's not dead in any big way. I think slightly faster forge, no? The tech though is looking good. Just having a dark shrine is super helpful if you're Astrea, in my opinion. I really do believe that's quite helpful. Double Robo as well. This is very gas intense. Prince has a lot of gas saved up for some reason though. Gets very fast 4 gases. Pre-3rd base. No, it's not even that quick. Probably was pre-3rd base though. At least one of them gases was. It's only on 4 gateways. Warps in Stalkers. Still has enough money for double disruptors as well. It's kind of wild honestly. Has a prism on the map. This feels like he's gonna proxy a Dark Shrine here, no? Yeah. He's really investing heavily into crap right now. There's going to be a timing in the next, like, 20 seconds. Well, once these gateways finish, okay? There's going to be a timing in which there's huge investments being made for Prince, and it hasn't completely paid off yet. Disruptor transition is usually complete after 4 disruptors are out. Then we'd consider a Protoss player safe against Charge Lot Archon attacks. You can hold with lower disruptor numbers, but you're not safe. Like, if the attacking player micros well or just has a huge lead, you're often just in trouble. Good first hit, actually. Getting 2 Stalkers for free like that, that's great. That's absolutely fantastic, because often with these first 2 disruptors, all you can do is really zone and nothing else. I think Astrea saw that hallucination. Yeah, I think he did. Okay, here comes the move forward. 2 Stalkers get taken out for free here as well. Does that observer see that the Immortals fake? Yeah, terrible disruptor shot. It's not going to be doing anything here. We have another disruptor shot ready. It's not going to get used. Where's that prism? The prism is here far in the back. It's not going to get spotted. Dark Shrine's about to finish up as well. 3rd disruptor now coming out. Gets the shot off. Look at that Stalker count out of Astrea. Is looking for a blink here on top of his opponent's army. You think he might just get it? Oh, that shot absolutely misses. Another shot. Well, another disruptor just gets absolutely beating the crap out of him. I don't think these Stalkers have blink anymore. It doesn't matter. Gets a snipe on the disruptor immediately. I think Prince is just dead. Prince investing way too much in gas stuff. Is just going to roll over and die here, I believe. I mean, he doesn't have any static defense left in the natural. +1 does end up finishing for him. This prism is on the other side of the map, but he doesn't have a gas to really use it for the Dark Templar like he wanted to. 6 workers now going down. There's not a single disruptor on the map. 2 Immortals provide a lot of damage output for Astrea. And I do believe that Astrea is just going to straight up win this game here. No? I think so, yeah. Nexus gets taken out. Yeah, well, DTs are gonna move in. There's an observer in, well, it was in position, but it didn't move quickly enough. A couple of workers are going to fall. Blink forward here out of Astrea. I mean, even if Astrea ends up losing 40 workers here, I still think he would just win with his army. That's a real issue. There is aggressive observer as well, so that is with the army, can help out. There's no charge set on these zealots, which makes them look really dumb. 16 workers will end up falling, but it's just not going to be enough. Double the army supply. And yeah, Astrea is just in a fantastic position here. Will pick up this game. Score 3-0 as Prince is struggling to get anything done whatsoever in this series. Astrea just seems to be a little bit too strong so far. Game number 4 will be played here on Berlingrad, as we see a standard opener out of Prince, the pylon at the ramp. At the same time we have Astrea opening up with a pylon near his assimilator once again. That's 4 times in a row now. It is just interesting. It's an interesting opener. And I kind of like how he plays it. So there is a... No, there is. It's just a concept in StarCraft 2, obviously, that if you can do something with less production, that tends to be better, right? Because whatever money you invest in production is not going to be invested in economy, tech, or fighting units. Infrastructure is just there to kind of match your income most of the time. Like, you don't want to have more gateways than you have income unless you start banking. And Astrea is kind of using this concept and saying, hey, if I can get into a stable mid game with 1 gate, and other people do that with 2 gates, I don't even need to have a quick nexus on my natural. No, I get the lead by having either quicker tech or having more army units on the map. And most of the time I think this is kind of going to show in quicker tech. And this is something that is interesting to think about, of course. Now, there's obvious advantages to 2 gates. There can be more aggression early on, especially pre the first secondary production facility, Robo, Stargate. Just have more units, which means you can put on pressure and perhaps delay your opponent's eco. And you can kind of leverage that unit advantage into something more tangible. And that's why we often don't see this type of play. This time around we also see a Zealot opener out of Astrea, so just straight up going with... It's a wonderful opener that he's playing here. It really is. And he's also, on top of this, he's going to fake a 3rd pylon, I believe. I think he should fake a 3rd pylon. He's going to lock this in. This is beautiful. I should not show this probe. If you show this probe, Astrea, I'm going to absolutely destroy you verbally. There we go. Does not end up showing it. Prince, however, does seem to know that something is up. Perhaps not quite sure what it is, though, that is up. Extra gateways are being added. As this battery has finished. I mean, if Prince finds this, that would be nice. Would be a start. He sees it. Can start attacking the battery immediately here. 2nd battery should go down. Is this Stalker going to be enough? I don't think so. There's no money either to immediately start an Immortal. He didn't quite calculate in the need for a 2nd pylon. Adept as a follow-up is terrible here for Prince. Oh no. Awful stuff. Awful stuff. Immortal not being chrono boosted right now. Surprising to see. Okay, there is chrono boost energy available, so it is going to end up getting chrono boosted. These 2 adepts are going to try to move around. I mean, if you're Astrea here and you see no unit 3 and 4, 3 minutes and 20 seconds into the game, while you're proxied basically in your opponent's natural, I would immediately get a battery in my main base, no? Yeah, of course, battery in the main base, full wall with the pylon, the correct calls once again being made by Astrea. Astrea is so good at reading these games, understanding what is going on and what needs to be done in order to survive, get these build orders to work. This isn't necessarily better than a 2-gate Robo, but I think it was a little more well disguised than a regular 2-gate Robo is. It also allowed him to focus a lot of gas in the early game. I'm not quite sure how that's going to pay off, because he's still floating 260 gas. Perhaps he just wants more sentries in his composition. Is a possibility. First Oracle is going to start moving towards the main base. Observers on the way as well. Is there a probe on the map currently? Yes, there is, which means that a Nexus, of course, it's going to be a proxy Nexus. I don't actually like that in this case. I do like the Nexus, though. I think the Nexus in general as a concept here is good. Proxying it, I don't think adds too much to it. The one thing that it will do is it will make Prince feel more like there's a sense of urgency to this defense, right? So we see 2 extra batteries being forced. These probably wouldn't have been built had these oracles spotted a nexus. Double oracle now moving into the main base though. We'll be able to get 5, 6, 7, maybe 9. I'll say 9 workers if he micros this correctly. Yeah, for sure. Didn't quite micro that correctly and will only get 8 as a result. It's some. I think he actually could have gotten 11 or 10 had he micro that correctly. This is bad though. This is really, really bad for Astrea, and Astrea is looking to be in quite a mediocre spot here, I have to say. Double Phoenixes are out. They should not be capable of lifting all the sentries though. There's just not a lot of damage output with this army, which is kind of what I'm afraid of. Single Stalker still at home. Yeah, Astrea's just dead. He's absolutely dead here. No shot he's holding this. Another gateway being produced? Okay, so he's gonna go for a lift on like 3 sentries, shade down with 5, 6 adepts. Focus down the other sentries perhaps. I guess that's the... To me that's the plan that makes the most sense, right? The funny thing is that this proxied nexus actually is really helping Astrea out right at this point, right? It's just super useful. I love that. I really do like that. Super battery is being activated for this. It's kind of wild to see. I wouldn't mind another warp in here. Double worker production still. Well, now it's double stalker here. I'm actually seeing chances maybe for Astrea. The funny thing is that Prince doesn't feel a sense of urgency anymore because he thinks he's so far up in worker count. So he doesn't feel like he needs the breakout. Well, the longer he waits, the better it's going to get for Astrea here. In Prince's head, it's like, well, the longer I wait, the worse it's going to get for Astrea. I'm outmining him. I have Phoenixes. A move I wouldn't mind, by the way, is if Prince flies across the map with these Phoenixes, lifts the 2 Stalkers, and then the 2 Oracles kill another 7, 8, 9, 10 workers. I mean, you can kill an infinite amount of workers as long as the energy is there. Because you have infinite lifts as well on these Phoenixes. That would force a recall. Right now, though, not quite going to be the case. Prince, I think, is kind of losing... Ooh. He's losing control of this game. And he isn't aware of that, which I guess is kind of a big part of losing the control as well. I think Prince realizes something is up, though. He really should realize that something is up, right? What is the grand plan here for Astrea, you know? It ain't here. There's no way he finishes this, right? That would be a huge error. Yeah. He activated the Guardian Shield. That was a late Guardian Shield as well. That is not an in-time Guardian Shield. The funny thing is that Astrea, I don't think he can actually move back home at any point. He can try to move home, but I don't really like it. I think it's a mistake to move home. But he's just super afraid. It's understandable. He's gonna move back to a battery, I guess. This is an army that isn't necessarily super strong. Battery is being created with a probe that came out of the natural, by the way. Oh, look at Astrea. He's kind of sharking around with this army. He's looking for something. But that something will never come, perhaps. Nexus now gets spotted. What will this trigger out of Prince? Perhaps the Oracle to move back. Is Astrea gonna base trade? Astrea is such a genius. If he gets the base trade off, that would be... Honestly, it would be sick. Oh! How does Prince know? Well, I don't think he knew. We're just kind of lucky there. There's a lot of force fields in this army, though. 43 army supply. All of the probes did end up going down. 2 more Stalkers being warped in here. Astrea still trying his absolute best to stay in this game. More Stalkers being warped in as the situation has gotten a little bit worse for the American Protoss in the last minute or so. This is why I don't think he should have moved back. Kind of got Prince to do something. This is a wild game, though. Okay, once again, we're going for the base trade. There's still 2 Stalkers in the main base. I mean, there's no gas mining here either. 2 more Stalkers being built. Do we get a recall out of Prince here? I think a recall would not be bad necessarily. That should have been a sentry warp in. That much is obvious to me. That really, that much is obvious to me. Okay, we do get a recall here out of Prince. Is this position fightable for Astrea? Can he fight? I don't think he can. I mean, now Prince is locked into his main base. The funny thing is... Well, actually, Astrea's just losing. There's no... I was gonna say, the funny thing is that a lot of this money hasn't been mined yet. So... Maybe technically... if this game stays one base versus one base forever, it could be possible that Astrea wins. It's just extremely unlikely. 2 Stalkers just get gifted there to the American gods. The god of the 4th of July. He makes sure that if you sacrifice stuff to him, that you get good barbecue and nice fireworks. Astrea will definitely have some good barbecue and nice fireworks tonight because of those 2 Stalkers as well. Dark Shrine. Okay, immediately gets spotted. Immediately gets cancelled. And that immediately gets spotted. Yeah, it's a nice little sequence of events there. Just brilliant stuff overall. Yeah, the blink here I like, I guess. This allows this entire army to move down the ramp, bar this one zealot. Jerry, the zealot, is gonna stay upstairs. It's gonna be the doorman. Because he ain't getting past the force field. But Adepts can shade through, Stalkers can blink down, Voiders can obviously fly over. Except for Jerry. He's gonna be standing upstairs for a while. These Stalkers are gonna be moving forward. Oh, might get this Stalker. Yep, we'll get a Stalker and an Adept. I feel like Astrea is getting way more stuff done than he ever should have. I mean, it shouldn't really be possible. A couple more Chronos on this I wouldn't mind. The income for Astrea slightly... Actually, it's exactly the same. How many mineral patches is there left? So there's about 1k, 2k left in total for Astrea. There's about... Well, it's very similar. There's like 400 less. Which actually might make up the difference here. This is the dumbest game I've watched in my life. Whose army comp would I prefer here? I think I'd prefer Astrea's army composition with the Guardian Shields. I mean, he's down a ramp as well, so has a positional advantage. Blink down, correct call. Does get spotted though. Does get spotted immediately. With these extra Stalkers arriving as well. And the possibility for a hallucination. I mean, marching across the map is just an absolutely terrible call. What? What is Prince doing? Like, there's no world in which this is correct, right? Is there? I mean, this is a base trade in which you're losing half your army to your opponent's army. Well, sure, you're killing their base, but you need to kill every single building. This is, I think, incorrect. This is the only way that Prince could lose, and he might just be doing it right now. Good blink forward here out of Astrea. It's going to be targeting down all of the Void Rays. We see Phoenix is also being targeted down. The Immortal is still dealing a lot of damage. Just one stasis in the back. Super Battery has already been activated. I mean, Prince is blinking forward. This game just turned... Oh my god, there's a probe. There's a probe here. Stasis gets used on this Immortal and these Stalkers. Good blink control once again out of Astrea. Still 20 Stalkers against the 17 of his opponent. However, 4 are not being used right now. There's no recall available. Otherwise, I think that Astrea just wins this. With the Prism, with the Immortal, he just has more stuff. How in the world did Prince throw this out of the window? I don't understand. Oh, well, it's not over yet, though. It's not over yet, though. 17 to 18 Stalkers. Just keep the unit tab open here. Immortal still dishing out a lot of damage. There's no probes left. Oh, Prism is there as well, ready to pick up. I think Prince lost it. No energy for Super Battery. Oh my god, this has to be the sickest and dumbest game that I've seen in my entire... Why would he move out across the map? He had more units. He was up 30 supply. Why would he send everything? What, just 4 Stalkers would have done the exact same thing. It either forces a recall or a warp in at home, and then you can come from 2 sides. Oh no, what a huge error out of Prince. Huge, huge, huge error. I cannot believe this. I mean, 16 Stalkers and an Immortal against 13 Stalkers. I can hype this up as much as I want, but unless Astrea accidentally A-moves 3 of his Stalkers and his own Immortal, he's not going to lose this game. Unbelievable. Actually unbelievable that this happened. I can't comprehend this whatsoever, this decision. Oh. Prince gonna be hitting himself in the head. Score 4-0 in this best of 7. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how it ends. Astrea wins. Taking that, man. I want to go back to that game. That made no sense. That was a really, really, really bad call. So here in this case, So there's a couple of things you can do here, right? If you want to deal damage to your opponent, you can either send the 3 Phoenixes. I understand why you wouldn't want that, because they might die if there's 4 Stalkers at home. You could also just send 5 Stalkers across the map. Just 5. It achieves the exact same thing. Rather than sending all 14, if you just send 5, you're still, like, they can't warp in reactively with 3 gateways. It's not possible, right? Especially if you focus the battery down first. You can always escape with Blink. And second of all, you can still kill a couple of workers, and you can die on top of your ramp, because you still have 9 Stalkers at home. And then you easily hold, right? It's not going to be close. You just easily hold. You can stand here, you have your batteries, you have your stasis wards, you have your double Void Rays and your triple Phoenix that can lift crap that's trying to cut up the ramp. You'll be fine. But without any of these Stalkers here, yeah, and life's just going to be hard. And it was so transparent all was going down. Yeah, just a mistake. I understand why he does it. Like, the concept is good, but the execution and the way the concept got applied was incorrect. That's just frustrating, because I really think that Prince should have won this game with the way he played this out in general. Alright, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thanks so much for watching, and bye bye.